Good afternoon, Kenya. Welcome to another enlightening episode of FarmKenya, where we bring you the latest innovations and solutions shaping the agricultural landscape of our country. Now, today, we delve into a topic that promises to revolutionize farming practices and boost sustainability: renewable energy solutions. Imagine turning waste into wealth, harnessing the power of animal droppings to fuel your farm and home. From dairy cows to chickens and pigs, every bit of animal waste holds immense potential. Today, we are going to explore how farmers can transform the potential into a reality by creating biogas, a clean and renewable energy source. Joining us today is Caleb Wasilwa, a leading expert and the driving force behind Home Biogas Kenya Limited. Caleb and his team are the forefront of bringing innovative biogas solutions to farmers across Kenya, helping them turn animal waste into valuable energy and organic fertilizer. Caleb, welcome to the show. Now, in today's discussion, we'll uncover the step-by-step process of converting animal waste into biogas, the benefits it brings to farmers, and how this sustainable energy solution can signify reduced cost and environmental impact. Well, we'll also hear inspiring success stories from farmers who have already embraced this technology and transformed their livelihoods. So get ready to be inspired and empowered as we dive into the world of renewable energy. It's time to harness the power of nature and fuel a sustainable future right here on FarmKenya. In the meantime, let's take a look at what is making the headlines in the agricultural world on Agri News. And the Cooperative University has taken a major step in transforming Kenya's agricultural landscape with the acquisition of a state-of-the-art server, which is aimed at enhancing farmers' productivity and income. Professor Kamau Ngamau, Vice-Chancellor of the Cooperative University, said the university is set to leverage these robust infrastructure to facilitate seamless interactions between farmers and various stakeholders across the agricultural value chain. Now, a pioneering initiative aimed at enhancing farmer connectivity, combating market cartels, and bolstering farmer incomes.
We have received this server, which was kindly donated by the Africa Development Bank. This is part of the wider Kenya Rural Transformation Center's digital project, and this is a very important project where we are targeting to empower farmers and the whole value chain in the three counties. We are talking about the potato value chain, the dairy, and also the maize value chain. We are talking about the Nakuru County, Narok, Baringo County, and also later we included Nyandarua County. And the main objective is to ensure that the farmers are able to get into an ecosystem where they can be able to receive all the resources that they need to produce in terms of the inputs that they require, in terms of seeds, in terms of fertilizers, in terms of pesticides, in terms of even the information that they require, whether it is weather data, whether it is agricultural extension services. All that can be obtained from one source through the platform, and even market access to credit and all that.
And the Warehouse Receipt System Council has stepped up the sensitization of farmers on post-harvest losses, even as the country is currently recording an increase in losses occasioned by rains that are being witnessed in the country currently. Now, Chairperson of WRS, Felicity Kirote Biriri, it said the country is currently recording a 40% loss in post-harvest losses, translating to 16 million bags of annual production. She added that WRS has started receiving maize in some of the warehouses in Trans Nzoia and Uasin Gishu counties to forestall losses resulting from poor storage. WRS CEO Lucy Komen said they have expanded warehouses to handle other commodities such as potatoes and green gram, and that a warehouse has been certified in Kilifi that will specifically handle pulses. The WRS Council is meeting with different stakeholders in Nairobi to review the act that governs the operation of the WRS to align it with the changing realities.
Addressing food nutrition and security through professional agricultural commodity storage and reduced post-harvest losses to bridge the commodities deficit gaps witnessed in every harvesting season in this country. Increase in productivity due to access to credit that facilitates the farmer's ability to purchase necessary farm input for timely and efficient production.
We have to have the ability to mobilize private capital, to build quality warehouses across the country, to be able to impact farmers in every county. We need to be able to mobilize private sector, and we think that bringing them into the infrastructure side of it could actually be something extremely viable.
We have a strong opportunity to transform the way we do agriculture, to transform how the financial services system engages with the commodities sector and the agricultural sector. But we also have a huge opportunity for regional trade. It is our view that the Commodities Exchange and the Warehouse Receipt Systems Council could also trigger more trade across our borders in the spirit of the East African community, and to set Kenya as a hub for commodities trading.
And the Kenya National Farmers Federation has continued to say that signed a memorandum of understanding with AgriBora, an agri-fintech company, to leverage on technology and de-risk smallholder agriculture, improve farm productivity, and facilitate effective trading for their 1.6 million members. Now, speaking to KTN, AgriBora CEO Kizito Odhiambo said through KNAF's membership, they will be able to expand their reach and transform the sector through the use of data-driven agriculture.
In agreement. Smallholder farming in Kenya is key to the country's food security and economy, and as mobile technology use increases and improves in rural areas, there is a huge potential to digitize agricultural services as an end-to-end ecosystem.
We are living in an ecosystem in Kenya where agriculture is very fragmented. Very many middlemen and women are between the farmer and the ultimate service providers, be it at the input side or the final market. And so what we are trying to do with technology is to disrupt that fragmentation by enabling grassroots businesses become a one-stop shop, so that a smallholder farmer only has one trust relationship with a service provider at the grassroots, where they can purchase everything from soil testing to plowing to fertilizer and seed, and ultimately sell to the same grassroots business their output market.
We've had a lot of ICT companies coming to Kenya promising to do one thing or the other. And quite a number of them have turned out to be, just talk. But just looking closely at what AgriBora is offering, their value proposition merges, coheres rather nicely with our pillar number 6, because we do believe that the software that they are offering, including in geo-mapping, in credit access, is what we really need so that we can support our commitment to our members.
Data-driven agriculture is a system of using big data to supplement on farm precision agriculture to make better decisions. While it is difficult to reach farmers at an individual level, the best way to help farmers use data is through aggregation through cooperatives or groups using simple technology such as USSD, short messaging services through simple feature phones, or what we commonly call Mulika Mwizi.
And we came up with a very simple technology, the USSD code, where we are offering 4 items on COVID-19 information, on market facilitation, weather information, and technical advisory services. And we were shocked at how much the uptake was because we started, I think, in July of 2020. And by September, we had 300,000 farmers signed up to this platform. And I think as of now, we have close to 700,000, and we've been offering different, we've been sharing information and knowledge through this service.
Through the transactions that go through the Agri-Hub, we are also able to start monitoring the crop development. Gone are the days where we will now just speculate about how much yield we will receive from our fields. By leveraging on ground data such as date of planting, the varieties that have been planted, and then satellite data, because every 5 days we are able to get an image of the field, and we're able to analyze this through our Agri-Map service to enable stakeholders such as agri-processors and governments have in-season analytics and insights about what has been planted where, when, and how much has it been raining, how much do we expect in terms of yield.
There are, however, various challenges with getting farmers on board and to adapt new technologies due to the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, when you start looking at how you're transacting money through e-wallets and these challenges that arise there, that has been one of the pain points. But also looking at how you can digitize grassroots businesses that do not have the devices that are able to actually use such kind of technologies. Most of them do have smartphones, but have not really interacted with their smartphones well to be able to run their business over them. So you realize that they still continue tracking their processes on paper, and then in the evening when they are settled down, that is when they move it onto the phone. And so you want to disrupt that to make it a process that actually is done on a day-to-day basis.
Kenya has over 7 million smallholder farmers, and apart from earning through the sale of farm produce, this technology opens numerous opportunities through connecting various services in the whole value chain. Data is used for various purposes in agri-food systems. For farmers, it can be used to make decisions of what to produce, where to produce, and when to produce on the farm. Making such decisions requires the support of localized data from the farm, such as soil, and imported data from outside the farm, such as weather data and market data. Another use of data for farmers is monitoring and assessing how the crop is growing and whether the required resources are available. For KTN News, I'm Paul Thiongo.
And that's all we had right here on Agri News. But now let's take a look at our commodity prices segment.
Lipia subscription yako uwe connected. Guswa hisia na drama na telenovela freshi, movie kali, documentaries, mziki na lifestyle channel. Changamka na Star Times. Let's get ready to download Star Times on app kwa burudani kemkem wakati wowote popote ulipo. Star Times, furahia maisha kidijitali.
This week on Manspective Africa.
When the government does what's supposed to do, we look at it like a privilege. Oh, thank you so much. You took my child to the hospital. Oh, that governor is the best. But he's supposed to be building hospitals and making them functional.
In today's society, in all honesty, women don't feel necessarily safe.
Sometimes it's better to separate from your partner if it's too toxic, and actually that's beneficial to the children. But when you average out the scores, it is better for children to be raised by a father and a mother. Men are different from women, and that's a problem and an opportunity, because you don't want men who are like women. I don't think even women want that.
Only on KTN Home. From different worlds, come a trio with a shared destiny.
Nikulinde na ikuongoze.
Where will the fashion runway take them?
Mimi nitachunga maua yetu vizuri sana hadi wewe narudi.
Family business is everything.
The beauty and the beats. Shanga, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. on Maisha Magic Plus.
A twisted story of revenge that will steal your hearts. A daughter will bear the punishments for the sins of her mother.
Vengeance is soon going to be mine. Their lives will be ruined, and a daughter will bear the punishment.
This is not a love story. It is a story of hearts broken by revenge.
So what?
Broken faith.
Only on KTN Home.
Lipia subscription yako uwe connected. Guswa hisia na drama na telenovela freshi, movie kali, documentaries, mziki na lifestyle channel. Changamka na Star Times. Let's get ready to download Star Times on app kwa burudani kemkem wakati wowote popote ulipo. Star Times, furahia maisha kidijitali.
Kuwa mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa kulima, kuwa mshindi, kuwa na uhakika sasa, kulea mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja, kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la FarmKenya.
Interest in renewable energy sources is hotter now than ever before. Many people are looking towards small and large-scale bioproduction in order to solve the issues of energy as well as the waste. Come along. So, Caleb, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Asante sana kwa kutukaribisha mahali hapa. Tumekufuata ni kwa shamba. Now, tell us more about what is biogas.
Okay, biogas is a renewable energy product ambayo ina convert waste into energy. When you're talking about the waste, kuna animal waste, we have food waste, and we have human waste. So kwa biogas, ile animal waste yenye tunatumia ile natoka kwa cows, kwa pigs na kwa poultry. About the food waste, we use like the fruit peelings za watermelon, pineapple, any fruit yenye kuna sugar ni nzuri sana, even bananas. Then human waste, we are just talking about the normal human waste. Hiyo pia inaweza produce biogas. So it's a digester yenye wanaweka the waste. Through the fermentation process, it will produce biogas, and the other end product in the bioslurry. Yes.
Amazing. Now, how does it work? The whole process, okay, it's the use of the waste, animal waste, kitchen waste as well, also the human waste. Now, how does it work?
So we have, like, the biogas has three components. It has a feeding chamber, also called an inlet. It has a dome, or a biodigester. Alafu it has the expansion chamber where the waste now exits from the plant. So the first thing is you have to feed the waste you feed the waste into the feeding chamber, then it goes into the dome or the digester. Then there is that bacterial process, a fermentation process. It's a normal process, ni bacteria zile zinatoka kwa ng'ombe kwa the intestines.
Sorry to cut you. The process called anaerobic process or?
The digester is called it's an anaerobic digester yenye haiallow oxygen ndani na iko tu na natural bacteria. So bacteria zina break down e-waste into gas, zinapokula hiyo waste nazo zina produce biogas. So the thing we normally call it in a layman's language fermentation process.
Okay.
Ina ferment, then product inakutolea gas, alafu the other product sasa ni ile fertilizer ambayo inaenda kwa shamba. Though the fertilizer now we are talking about the animal waste and the food waste, but human waste we don't call it bioslurry kwa sababu hatutaki kuinteract nayo tena unless we want to treat just the water alafu tuitumie for irrigation. So the two penye bioslurry tunatumia sana ni kwa food waste na animal waste. Yes.
So what a farmer is supposed to do what with the bioslurry?
The bioslurry applies on the farm.
Because I understand it's the remaining part after the gas has been produced.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a good fertilizer. Sorry, it's a good fertilizer, yes, or manure ambayo iko organic. It doesn't have any chemicals. So it's very good for the farm. Like ina treat ile acidity yenye kwa farm. Pia iko na maji, inafanya irrigation, so unapata inatengeneza ile mchanga, inapatia mmea nguvu. It's proven scientifically that comparing the bioslurry to the manure iko 3 times stronger. Nzuri sana. Yes.
Amazing. Now, what are the factors to consider when having a biogas plant?
Okay, for you to have a biogas, the first thing is waste. Because we rely on waste. So kama ni ng'ombe, we need you to have an average of 2 cows, kama zile ziko zero graze, ama ng'ombe 6 wale wa kutembea. Kama ni nguruwe, tunahitaji ukuwe na at least 10. Na kama ni kuku, we need you to have at least 100 chicken. If you are talking about the food waste, tunaongea about kilo 2 tu. Ukiwa na kilo 2 ya mabaki ya chakula, bado utakuwa na biogas. For the human waste, mostly watu tunaangalia watu a minimum of 15. Kwa sababu binadamu pia hatoi waste nyingi. Yes.
15 people.
15 people, at least 15
That's
people.
That's a whole family.
And they should be eating.
They should be eating. Yes. That is the best thing to consider. People should be eating.
Should be eating
but
so that they can also get
for animals are okay. Their waste is they're always there because they usually eat.
They have to eat, yes. The animals have to eat.
Now, it's about biodigester. How does it work?
So what happens once you feed the waste, inaingia tu kwa digester. There are bacteria inside. So like let's say an ideal farm, tuseme tumekuja kujenga biogas kwako. The first thing tutaangalia uko na waste kiasi gani. Let me give an example of a small system ya hii ya mawe, itakuwa 6 cubic meters. 6 cubic meters ni kama 6,000 liters. For that system utapata digester 2/3 ambayo ni digester itakuwa 4 cubic meters. Na 2 cubic meters itakuwa storage. So when you are talking of 2 cubic meters, it's like 2,000 liters. For this farmer tuseme kama anaanza sasa tumemjengea plant, atahitaji 2,000 kgs of cow dung na 2,000 liters of water ndio aweze kufill hiyo digester mara ya kwanza before ijae. So when you are starting unapata wengi ina take time like 3 months akiweka polepole, lakini kuna wengine anapokuwa na maybe wakulima wengine watamsaidia na aweke mara moja maybe within 1 week, but ikifika 4,000 liters imejaa hivi within 5 days atakuwa ameanza kupata gas kwa sababu bacteria ni natural. Pila ile kitu ninataka kuguzia mkulima mwenye ako na tuseme pigs ama poultry na pigs hazina bacteria ile ya biogas. So pia huwa tunawaadvise tuanze na ya ng'ombe, lakini ile time mtambo inaanza kutoa gas then ataanza kufeed ile ya nguruwe ama ile ya kuku sasa. So the first thing is we start with the cows because they have the best bacteria. Lazima tujaze hiyo digester, ikishajaa ikafika at optimum kulingana na size yake, kama ni ile 6 vile nimesema tunajaza na 4 cubic meters kwa sababu ile 2 ni ile nyingine 2 ni gas. Alafu vile nafanya after optimum tumeijaza, unapoweka the new cow dung inapoingia ndani, it's a natural process, pia itasukuma ile mbolea yenye imeferment itoke, the bioslurry now. Pia gas yenye iko ndani naturally huwa ina push slurry kutoka, so hakuna kitu kingine unafanya, kazi yako tu ni kuweka kule kwingine feeding na huku kwingine mbolea unachukua ukipeleka kwa shamba. kule kwingine unaachilia tu gas ukitumia kwa nyumba yako na kwa yale matumizi mengine. So on the part ya kutumia biogas pale kwa nyumba kuna different functions. Basically farmers wengi wanaipenda kwa kupika, lakini kuna matumizi mengine kama inaweza run chaff cutter ile ya kukata majani, inaweza run tuseme brooder ile ya vifaranga. Kama ni kwa nyumba kuna baridi unaweza weka ile heater. Kama unataka kuoga na maji moto pia kuna instant shower. Kama unataka kugenerate stima yako pia tunaweza tumia biogas kwa kurun generator 100% on biogas.
Stick on that. How does it generate electricity?
Yes, sasa hiyo generator ina the same way unapata generator inatumia diesel na petrol. Sasa tuko na special generators ambazo zinatumia biogas. So whatever is running the generator is biogas, but the output sasa ni ile stima ambayo unaweza itumia kwa yale matumizi ya kawaida. The same things zenye unatumia kwa stima ya kawaida pia ile generator ya biogas inaweza kukuwezesha kutumia ile umeme ama kawi.
Okay, amazing. There are different types of biogas installation.
Yes. We have the concrete system or the fixed dome that we have it here. Then we have the balloon system. It's also called the PVC. Some people call it the portable system. Yeah, so the concrete system, the major difference is about what you're using. The other one, we are using the material called CP1, ni kama ile ya tent for the balloon system, or sometimes we use this material for the dam liners, but the strong one, ile ya 1 millimeter. Yeah, so that is for the balloon system. Then for the concrete system, we use the local materials like the cement, the sand, kuna the stones. We bake the bricks on site. Yes. So in terms of like cost, the difference is the concrete system is fairly expensive, a bit expensive compared to the balloon system. In terms of also portability, the concrete system, once you've installed it, you cannot move it. But the balloon system, you can be able to move it. In terms of sizing, you'll find the concrete system occupies more space compared to the balloon system. In terms of efficiency, the balloon system is more efficient because it's above the ground. So you see, the bacteria, they also depend on the temperatures. When the temperatures are a bit high, they are more active, they produce more gas. But because the concrete system is buried underneath, you'll find that the bacteria may be a bit slow in terms of that. In terms of pressure, the concrete system has very high pressure. So if you're connecting a system to, let's say, 150 meters, 200 meters, then the concrete system will be the best. If you want to use the biogas to do machines, to run your chaff cutter, to do generator, anything you want to do with the biogas and you're relying on high pressure, the concrete system will be the best compared to the balloon system.
Wow.
Yes.
Why biogas?
Biogas is, I think the first thing is on the clean energy. You can imagine a lot of waste on the farms. Like on this farm, they have a lot of pigs. That waste is a problem, especially during the rain season. So the biogas, the first thing is we are managing the waste. Number 2 is now the clean energy. You can imagine it's so clean. Number 3, the gas cannot explode. Unlike other fuels like LPG, even if it's leaking in the room, it's very safe. The other part is once you've installed it, you're not going to use money again. Your work is just the same way you are carrying your waste to the farm, now you are carrying it to your plant. The cost is almost like zero. Maintenance is almost zero, and you are enjoying your gas every day.
Ma'am Naomi Njiri, asante sana kwa kutukaribisha mahali hapa kwako. Leo tumetembea kujua hali ya gas, the biogas. Najua umewekewa na sijui imekufaidi namna gani.
Mimi biogas imenisaidia kwa kuwa sasa sinunui gas. Sasa inaweza kupika chochote. Ile jiko ile ninayo ni kubwa. Inatumia jiko yani 4, ina pano 4. Kwa hivyo inaweza kupika vitu nyingi. Na inapika chapati, inapika chochote. Na kwa hivyo mimi situmii hata kidogo. Na pia nafurahia juu si kazi hiyo tu inafanya. Nimeweka ikiwa kubwa, juu ikiwa kubwa ndio ina ile hali ya kuweka gazi nyingi. Kwa hivyo niliona mimi nahitaji kuwa na moto kwa nyumba.
Hata naiona pale na nyumba iko very
well. Iko sawa. Tukiweka inakuwa sawa. Na nimeweka kwa bedroom. Nimewekea mahali tunaweka hivi varanga. Inasaidia. Mahali ya kuchemcha maji ya ng'ombe imewekwa na inatusaidia kwa njia hizo zote. Na ninafurahia. Usiku natumia vile nataka. Hakuna wakati inaisha. Either kuwe tu na shida ya yule ambaye anaweka nini? Unaita nini? Biogas. Ile inafanya biogas ingie pale kukoroga yani choo ya ng'ombe, ya nguruwe ndio tunachanganya na tunaweka inakuwa sawa. Either mwenye kukoroga akiweka ndogo kama inataka hurubaro 8 aweke kama 7 6 hivyo. Akiteremsha hivyo haiwezi kuwa na gazi ya kutosha. Juu unaona vile ni kubwa na vile ikiwa kubwa ndio inataka nini hiyo kuwa kubwa, manyoya yake iwe kubwa. Kwa hivyo ndio inakuwa mzuri.
So challenge yenye umekuwa nayo ni gani?
Ni hiyo wakiweka wanakuambia wamekoroga lakini labda wameweka 4 au 5 na hiyo haiwezi juu ile umeweka ile wewe umetengeneza ni kitu kubwa. Inataka nae vile tu hivyo.
Na haina madhara yoyote?
Madhara aidha ukute tu hizo au unajua kuna wakati zinaingia maji. Yani kuna maji ile inaingia naye ikikuja yani hiyo gazi yenyewe kuna maji inaingiaga naye. Kuna wakati maji inakuwa mingi kwa hiyo mpereji yake. Na ikiwa nyingi kuna mahali inatolewa. Ikikosa kutolewa tena naye unaona imeenda chini. Sasa ni challenge ni hiyo. Haina mambo mengi. Hiyo na hiyo ya kukosa kuweka. Au iwe imefugana huko ndani. Ninataka sabda wa mtu anafurisha kwa nguvu ili tena hiyo yote itoke. Hiyo tu. Haina mambo mengi. Ile nimeona labda niende juu ni mpya naenda tu nikiona ni nini nataka ni nini nahitaji. Na tena ikiwa zaidi ya vile sisi tuna uwezo wa kutengeneza. Sasa tunaita yule ambaye alitutengeneza na alitutengenezea. Na anaenda tu na mfanyi wangu wa kazi. Anaona vile anafanya naye ikiharibika tena kiago hiyo naye anaweza kunini. Kwa hivyo haina mambo mengi.
Basi utambia kuna mama fulani anataka kuwa na hii gasi. Utamwambiaje? Mimi
ninamwambia hii akiweka itampumzishia mambo mengi ya kufikiria kila wakati. Unaambiwa hakuna gasi. Naenda mvurulizo bila kukwama. Hakuna wakati unasema nimegoja gasi ikuje ili tupike. Inaendelea kila usiku wote. Kwa hivyo ukitaka chakula wakati wote uko na gasi. Kama hii tunaweka saa ingine usiku wote na haiende chini. Inatumika na wengine wanapika. Saa hii inatumika vile na wengine wanapika na hakuna kitu iko sawa. Shida tu ni yule mtu wako akose kukoroga vizuri. Hiyo tu ndio nimeona shida. Zaidi.
Na mbona ukaamua kuwa na hii gasi?
Mimi niliona sitakuwa na hasara ya kutoa kila wakati. Siwezi kosa juu sina pesa ati nikose kupika. Juu sasa nina hiyo. Sasa imenipumzisha. Hapa nilikuwa nikiweka ili nipate moto kama hii nilikuwa nikiweka hii ya stima. Sasa stima na vile iko. Nitatoa wapi pesa hiyo? Mwezi kumalizika hivyo. Si unaona? Kuweka hiyo itakukura sababu stima imeenda juu sana. Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio niliona itakuja kuwa nikaangalia nifanye hivi.
Now, David, I understand that you're the farm manager of this plant, the biogas plant. So, the quantity, e-feeding, how do you do it?
Kama unavyoona saa hii, hii ni kazi mzuri ambayo inatusaidia. Gasi yenyewe inatusaidia kupika. Kama sasa hivi kuna ng'ombe mingi, kulingana na zile ng'ombe tunazo, hii gasi inatusaidia, inafika kule inachemsha maji kwa wingi, na hiyo maji tunaitumia kwenye kamua. So tuliona ni kazi mzuri. Gasi yenyewe ni mzuri. Venye iko hapa hivi, nimechukua ulibaro 3.
So hizi ulibaro 3 ziko hapo?
Kabisa, za ng'ombe.
Ng'ombe peke yake ama una mix
na mix
kila waste yote?
So nikachukua pale ya nguruwe, nayo pia nika mix 4.
Na hiyo kumix kuna quantity kiwango fulani ama una mix?
Kama mimi kwangu ile ninaona inanisaidia na kologa mara 2. Sasa unaona venye imejaa hivi, na kisha kabisa nimejaza hivi mara 2. Imejaa nikaingia hivyo. So ndio napata moto ya kutosha kama mimi.
Okay. So after umemix hivi, kitu kingine unafanya?
Kitu kingine inafanya, nikimaliza kumix hivi, ni kufungulia tu hapa.
Okay. Tunaweza fungua ama bado?
Tunaweza fungua, sasa iko sawa.
Okay.
Ndio kifungulia hapa, inapata nafasi ya kuteremka. Naona venye naenda hivyo. Sasa hapa inaingia. Inapita tu direct, inaingia pale kwa shimo. Kifika huko inajitengeneza yenyewe.
So unaachilia iende yote ama kuna kiwango?
Kama saa hii unaona venye inavyoenda, na kisha ile yenye sasa imekuwa smooth, imeingia vizuri, nafunga. Napofunga hivyo, sasa naongezea kamaji kwa ile yenye imebaki. Ndio kusiende zile zenye zimeshikana sana. Naendelea na kufanya nini? Koroga.
Awesome. Na nimeona ni kijana. Utatuweza aje vijana wanasema hawana kazi jamani?
Kazi zipo. Kama hii imetusaidia kwa wingi kama vijana. Tunasaidika na hatuwezi kuwa idle. Tunafanya kazi na sisi wenyewe tunasaidika. Juu mwenyewe akiona gasi ikitoka kwa wingi, anajua kabisa. Anafurahia.
So vijana ni kujitolea, wajitolee sasa na wakubali kazi.
Vijana wakubali kazi.
Wasisikie harufu tunayosikia hapa.
Hapa unaweza ingiza tu mkono hivi, ukafanya hivi.
Okay.
Kama kijana. Lakini ukisema ati hii ni chafu inanuka, hakuna kazi. Kijana ni kujituma na kuhakikisha kabisa ametubika vizuri.
In the current dispensation, the country and the world that we live in, energy is a very integral part of our day-to-day life. We depend on energy to cook. We depend on energy to be able to see. And how else can we do that, moving away from the chemical energies that we have today that can be solved by the farms that we have, the animals that we keep, and the waste that we get from that, turn that into energy that we can use in our houses. But that is not me who will be talking about biogas, because we shall be talking about biogas. It is all about Caleb Wasido, who is a biogas expert and also a at-home biogas Kenya. Now, Caleb, welcome on the set as we have this discussion on matters to do with biogas. A lot of people don't understand what biogas is. It is a big word that is being floated out there, but just break it down for us to understand what biogas is and the benefits it has to pretty much the society that we have.
Okay, thank you. Biogas is a clean energy that converts waste into energy. So when you're talking about the technology, we are talking about like a digester that accepts food waste, animal waste, and human waste. Through a fermentation process, the end product will be biogas. If you're talking about food and animal waste, the other product will be the bioslurry that goes into the farm. So the biogas will be used basically, most people understand it for cooking, but you can use it for more than cooking. We can do lighting, either directly using the biogas lamps, or we can use a biogas generator that will give you electricity. So that will give you electricity that you can use for anything that the normal electricity can be able to do. Then the other benefits will be the heating, if you want to heat your house. If you want to do brooding for your chicken, if you want to do brooding for your pigs, that can also be done. If you want to run like an instant water shower, we have also biogas appliances that can support that. So around biogas, there are so many benefits, apart from also the bioslurry that now is a liquid fertilizer that you can use on your farm.
Now, when you talk about matters to do with biogas, people don't know, how do I get this biogas? What kind of waste are we talking about in our farms that we can transform into these energy that is really important? So in terms of, say, I have a farm, I have crops, and I have animals. What kind of waste are we talking about?
Okay, for the farms, you're talking about animal waste. The animal waste, it should be from either cows, pigs, or poultry. Basically, those three are good. We also do a bit of goats, but the waste is a bit sticky, so you have to do another process to mash it. So the three that are easy is that. Then we are talking about the food waste. Then that is like the fruit peelings from pineapples, from mangoes, from bananas, from watermelon. Any fruit that has a lot of sugar is very good for biogas. Then the other waste is the cooked leftovers, like the ugali. We are talking about the potatoes, rice. So it's basically like starch, something that gives the body energy. Is very good again for biogas. Then in terms of the human waste, the normal human waste, but for normal households, it's a bit tricky because like a human being on average does like 100 grams per day. So we normally target institutions like schools that makes sense for biogas.
So now we talk about, there's something you've mentioned that is, I think, very critical, the slurry, which then goes back to be a fertilizer. Now, in a world where we depend on chemical fertilizers and imported fertilizers, and we know the entire conversation around fake fertilizers in this country. So in terms of harnessing that slurry as a means of not being totally dependent, reliant on chemical fertilizers, just how important and how beneficial would these be to farmers?
It's very beneficial. We look at it in two terms. One, scientifically it's proven that when you compare the slurry with the normal, even manure from the cows, these 3 times stronger. Because you're talking of when you're feeding the biogas, you're doing like 50%. If I have 1 bucket of cow dung, I add 1 bucket of water. So the fermentation process kills all the pathogens and any pest that will have been in the manure. Whatever is coming out is completely 100% organic. It cures the soil. If you're talking of the acids in the soil, it's able to cure that. Then remember also the bioslurry is mixed with water. So it's like you're doing irrigation. While you're giving the plant water, you're also giving it the manure. So it removes the acidity and the chemicals in the soil because it's 100% organic. Then now you find that the crops will grow faster, the yields are improved, and the farm is clean. As you are curing the acidity, the alkalinity of the soil, you are still also improving the productivity of your farm.
Now, Caleb, this information about biogas is out there, but not everyone has access to it. Yes. So how then do we ensure that every farmer out there, because if a farmer has 1 cow, the waste would be able to cook meals in your house. So how do we take this message to the farmers and tell them, oi, you can take advantage of what you have to be able to produce biogas and also produce fertilizer at the same. So how do we make sure that this civic education gets to the farmers out there?
So that's the biggest challenge we have. Like on the supply side, we have these solutions, but now getting the farmers is the problem. 85% of our market is just farmers, either who have cows or they have pigs or poultry. Getting to these farmers is not easy, but through platforms like now, your program, we can be able to reach them. Also, maybe if we get farm organizations in their groups, we can be able to do maybe some bit of civic education, maybe through ASK shows around the country, we can also be able to reach them. But because of the landscape, it's not easy. Most of the farmers, we are talking about the West, like even as we are based in Nairobi, we work across the country, but our farmers are either they are in rural or peri-urban areas. So it's not easy, but we're really trying.
And at Biogas Kenya now, let's just have a conversation on having, say, cooperative societies that deal with farmers and harness. Are we able to have like a biogas plant, say, in a specific area and that energy distributed to people? Is that something that, say, a county would look into if they have animals, collect all these waste, produce this energy and supply it?
I could say yes and no. On one side, yes, it's possible if you do a commercial plant at a central place, but now it depends on what we want to use it for. If it's in terms of electricity, it will be easy because piping electricity is a bit easy. But in terms of biogas, now we do like we use the PPR. So depending on how the population is, it could be the demographics of the population will be able to assist, we will be able to inform that. Number two, also, we've realized that if these farmers do like a communal project, the problem is feeding. If everyone wants to use the biogas, but feeding it's a challenge. So sometimes when you put them together, like they're feeding the plant as a community, then using the biogas, you find everyone wants to use, but in terms of feeding becomes a problem. Then those who are feeding, they become frustrated. So unless you have a mechanism where you can work around that, like you have a third party who will be handling the waste feeding, that can work. But again, as I mentioned, the piping of the gas will also influence that. If they're going to use it for electricity or powering other things, that could be possible.
And now in terms of, aside from just fact that information is not out there to the farmers, what are some of the other challenges that you deal with on a daily basis, and how do we cure them?
Okay, one of the biggest challenges is the cost. For a normal farmer, we are talking of between 120 to 150,000 to get a plant. Looking at how things are, how the economy is, farmers are looking at priorities. Maybe they have to get the inputs for their farm first. They are thinking about how they can take their kids to school. So biogas becomes like number 3, number 4 on the list, and that cost is fairly not affordable for most of the households.
And in a country where we know we have last mile connectivity project trying to connect people to power and all that, therefore brings the conversation between experts like you, farmers, and the government in order to have biogas to be an intricate part of the day-to-day life. Therefore, what are some of the conversations that we are having with the government in terms of having policy framework that governs the entire biogas sector, and also in terms of just having incentives in some of these equipment that we need? If we're importing, we get them at subsidized rates. Are these some of the conversations you're having with the government?
Yes, we've been working with the Ministry of Energy. They've been pushing. One of the things they've been doing is like they identify different regions, like maybe Embu County, we do like 20 systems, just to make sure that a small population, it's a drop in the water, but at least they get some systems. So every year you'll find that the Ministry of Energy will have a certain number of plants in a certain region. In terms of policy, initially there was that like zero-rated tax on all biogas products, but now it's changing because there are some taxes that they are pushing also, especially when you are importing the biogas appliances. So it's still tricky. When the farmers we are targeting, mostly you'll find they're dairy farmers, but they're also doing maybe coffee, they're doing tea, and some other things like maize. So the challenges they're having maybe with their farm inputs still affects the uptake of biogas. So as much as the government on one side, maybe through the Ministry of Energy, they are trying to push, you'll find on the other side, the environment is not very conducive for the farmers again to be able to adopt this technology. And it's also not very conducive for us to be able to supply these technologies to them. The last part I could want to mention is about also the interest on the loans. If farmers will want to take loans to be able to get this product, then again, you'll find that some of the government policies or some of the things that are happening around the interest rate are affecting the access to credit, and that affects the adoption of the technology.
So how do we cure this? Because now we're talking in terms of biogas is good for the country, not only just for the country but the world, because it's clean energy. Everyone is trying to move away from fossil fuels. So if it's attracting taxes, how are we, even now as we speak, there's that entire conversation around taxes. So how do we have a conversation such that both sides win? The government gets what is rightfully its, and as well farmers, professionals like you, are able to say we are leaving a mark with regard to biogas in the world pretty much.
I think the government should reconsider the taxes on clean energy, not only on biogas, but even on solar. That will really help to reduce the cost of adoption of this technology. The other part is also the incentives, like if the government will really want to help us to get like renewable energy funds in the circles, in the banks, that with better rates than what normal loans are attracting, that will also help the farmers. The third part is the infrastructure. If the government can also open up that space, like we can be able to work with their agronomists, we can be able to work with their agricultural officers across the country, so that you can also be able to push this information. Because some farmers, honestly, they may also be able to, like they have their budget, they want to access this, but they don't have this information. So I know government has infrastructure. If they have that goodwill, if they can be able to open that space, working with the private sector, we can really be able to push this, and more farmers will be able to adopt the technology.
Given the fact that this is new technology pretty much, say, in Africa, what are some of the opportunities that do exist in this biogas space? Because someone, at the end of the day, if I want to get into this biogas business, someone would ask, what is in it for me? Because I've not seen much traction about it. So in terms of you as a professional who deals with biogas pretty much on a daily basis, what are some of the opportunities that lie around, even for the young people? What are some of the opportunities that lies in for them, to the farmers, opportunities to the government? What opportunities do lie in this sector that is biogas?
So I will start with the young people. You'll find that most of the young people have been doing these courses that maybe they are more of theoretical kind of, and it becomes very hard for them to find jobs. So if the young people can be able to, of course, we don't have those like clear courses on biogas in institutions. It also goes back to the government. If they can be able to introduce those courses either in the universities, especially the technical institutions, the middle-level colleges, so that they can be able to learn about biogas, maybe the construction of the biogas, the planting of the biogas and stuff, maintenance of biogas. That will help because the demand is there. The people on the ground, the farmers who are our parents, they can also be able to give them those opportunities. So I believe there are many opportunities. Even the staff, the technical people that you are working with, mostly they are masons or plumbers. They don't have that training on biogas. So we have to retrain them with the background they have to be able to fit into our setup. So the opportunities are there. Instead of just doing the normal plumbing, masonry, or wiring and electrician, they can be able to study this, and there's a fairly good demand for that. Then on the side of the government, if they are able to open that space, more people are going to adopt this technology. They are going to buy more things around the biogas, even the appliances. And if they are still going to do the taxes, they are going to get some money. But also, if the farmers are going to reduce their cost of production, they'll have more money in their pockets. That increases their purchasing power. With that, the government will still be able to get more. If the farmers, if the households will have more money to send their kids to school, the economy will keep growing, we'll have more productivity, and I believe that that is very good for the government.
Caleb Wasilwa is a biogas expert, and here he says that all of us need to jump onto matters to do with biogas, because it not only gives you the energy that you require to cook, but you can also use that to light your house. We know how much we consume energy in this country, and with the entire conversation around taxes and how much you spend on power. Perhaps it's about time that we had this conversation on biogas. Personally, I have chicken. I don't know if they are enough for me to produce biogas. That's a conversation on the side with Wasilwa. But what about you at home? Do you have a cow? Perhaps you can take advantage of that and produce biogas in your own home. But we shall be having more conversations on the same after this short commercial break. See you in a few.
Kuwa na uhakika sasa, kukulea mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja. Kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la FarmKenya.
subscription yako uwe connected. Guswa hisia na drama na telenovela freshi, movie kali, documentaries, mziki na lifestyle channel. Changamka na StarTimes. Let's get ready to download StarTimes on app kwa burudani kemkem wakati wowote popote ulipo. StarTimes, furahia maisha kidijitali.
Daka mamilivi rahisi. Uko na nafasi tatu ya kuwa milionea kila awa. Usipitwe. Cheza Daka. Ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account KTN. Amount cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka Mita, kuwa bingwa.
Subscription yako uwe connected. Guswa hisia na drama na telenovela freshi, movie kali, documentaries, mziki na lifestyle channel. Changamka na StarTimes. Let's get ready to download StarTimes on app kwa burudani kemkem wakati wowote popote ulipo. StarTimes, furahia maisha kidijitali.
Kuwa mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima, kuwa mshindi, kuwa na uhakika sasa, mustakabali wa baadaye. Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja. Kuimarisha Kenya ni jukumu la FarmKenya.
Thank you for watching and welcome back. Now we continue with the conversation on matters to do with biogas, and on set is Caleb Silwa, who is a biogas expert at the Home Biogas Kenya. Now, Caleb, as we continue to have this discussion on matters to do with biogas, if say I have a cow, I have just a single cow in my home, can you set up for me a system in my home? What are some of the products that you have that Kenyans can tap into?
Okay, so for you to have a biogas, we need you to have like 2 cows, a minimum of 2 zero-grazed cows. So maybe one could be possible depending on how much waste, because we are talking of a minimum for 1 bucket. So you'll find maybe a big freshened cow, one can do, but on average, most farmers we've seen, the amount of cow dung they're getting from 1 cow may not be sufficient for zero graze. So we are talking of 2. If there are these cows for open tethering, which walks around, we are talking of an average of 6 cows. So with that, you can have a small plant, a plant that can be able to cook for 6 hours. That is like you're supporting your main kitchen and also the outside kitchen or the kitchen for your servants. A small system will be able to do that. From the smallest size, the 6 cubic meters, so when you're talking about the 8 or the 12, you need like 4 zero-grazed cows, so we're talking about 12. If you're talking about the pigs, you need an average of like 8 pigs. That will be able to do. If you're talking about the chicken, we are talking of 100, and the 100 chicken should be like in a cage or in a place where you can be able to collect the waste easily. That is not mixed with the feeds or with the sawdust. Yeah.
And so that, just take me through that. You've set up a small biogas system with my 2 cows. So how do I feed it? Do I feed it every day from the waste, or how do I go about it? Because not every day will I have Wasilwa on call.
Okay. Yeah, so like if you have that system, normally for the farmers, it's easy because they are used to cleaning their shed every day. So instead of cleaning the waste and heaping it somewhere, and we want biogas to have that fresh waste, it's easy for them to push it. But depending on your setup, depending on how you do your farm, we normally advise at least 3 times. Because the bacteria in the biogas relies on that waste. Like the bacteria is waiting to feed on the waste to get the gas. So if you also starve it for too long, you'll find that the activity in the digester goes so low, and that will affect the production. So at least 3 times in a week is good.
Or 3 times in a week?
Yes.
Okay. And can I also be feeding it? Say I clean today, I just drop it. Tomorrow I drop it inside. Is that also a way of making sure that my area is clean as well, but also feeding the bacteria?
Yes. Interestingly, some of our clients, their main interest is managing their waste. You can imagine if you have a small plot with waste, either from the cows or sometimes from the pigs, especially during the rainy season, you'll find that it goes to the neighbors. So for them, the most interesting part is first managing the waste before even getting now the gas. So that's possible.
That is possible.
Yes.
And now there's this entire conversation on methane gas now that is being produced by the animals that we have, and we know the entire conversation around climate change and how methane gas is not good for the ozone layer and this entire conversation. Therefore, when we talk about biogas depending on the waste from animals, does it then contradict the entire push on climate change, or do they complement each other?
They complement each other. If you leave the manure outside, it's still producing the methane, which is going to the atmosphere, causing the pollution. But if you're feeding it into the biogas, you'll get 2 gases. That's the methane and carbon dioxide. So, and that mix, methane is always above 50%, slightly like 52, then the 48 is carbon dioxide. So, and that is what supports now the combustion of the biogas. So the whole gas that will have gone into the atmosphere causing the pollution is coming into the biogas. A bit of, so there's also that conversation that sometimes people are not using all the gas and also causing that pollution. It is there, but it's very low. And on most of the digesters, we normally add another small plant so that whatever is coming out of the plant with the like 5% methane still goes into another compartment. We tap that gas, so making sure that whatever is coming out is just slurry with no pollution to the environment.
So now, Caleb, let's talk about the young people. We know the opportunities that do exist. We know now there is entire conversations on the young people also getting into agriculture. A few are getting into it. But some would sit back and say the entire biogas business, because it involves waste, I don't want to be involved. So how do we change this conversation such that it is an employment opportunity for them, and it's also an opportunity for everybody to just come at the table and do something right with regard to the environment that we have? So how do we package these entire conversation such that it is enticing, it is sweet for the youth?
So I think one of the things is the gadgets. If you're going to do like on a site, the normal site, somebody who is going to work there, if they have the safety gears, they have the boots, they have the jackets, that will really help. They have the gloves. That's important in terms of like if you're going to do the actual construction. In terms of now feeding also the plant, if they have anything, when you want to make something acceptable, it has to be clean, it has to be beautiful. So like what we've done with our plants, we changed the inlet so that it's so nice. Even when you're doing the food waste, we have plants like in Kileleshwa, we have plants in Karen. That helps. Then we have also made sure that whatever is coming out is just the slurry. There's no smell, because smell will also not be attractive to most people. It will not be good to even the neighbors. So you find that we've made sure that what comes out of the biogas is very clean. We've made sure the inlet where you're doing the feeding looks very nice. We also constructed conveniently, not very far from the cow shed or from where you are getting the waste. So that convenience also, if the young people are going to save time, they're not going to spend a lot of energy or time to push the waste into the plants. That becomes very, very lucrative for them as well. Then the last part is also the returns. A normal fundi working on that site is paid like, on average now in Kenya is 1,200. For biogas, we are paying 2,000, 2,500. If they do as a contract, we pay an average of 15,000, and that's money we're getting in like 5 to 7 days. So also, whatever they're getting from the work also is very, very attractive.
Very attractive.
Yes.
You know, money is the way to go, man. With the taxes out here and everything, you need an extra means of income for you to be able to survive. But as we talk about, you mentioned how you construct these things and all that. And another question someone would ask is in terms of safety, because we're using flammable fumes here. So then in terms of safety, how safe is this? Because that would be the next question. Actually, it's good that you mentioned that. Can someone say, can you assure our viewers, the farmers out there, that biogas plants within their homes are safe?
Yes, I can. For biogas is basically methane. Methane, even if you feel it in this room and you light your matchstick, it cannot blow. Methane is lighter than air. So wherever it is, it cannot meet those conditions for like blasting. Yeah, it can only light from the point where it's coming from. So when you are talking about the kitchen, you can only light it from the cooker where it's coming from, or from, if it's the pipe, it has to be from the pipe. When you go to the field, you'll be able to see that, but it cannot explode. So whether it's young people who are using the biogas, whether it's small kids, they cannot burn from the biogas. It cannot blast. The way you find other, like LPG, like such things, they cannot happen with biogas. So it's, in terms of safety, I think biogas is one of the safest energy sources.
All right. So now, as now you've assured us of safety, that there is money in it. Now, another conversation would be all these equipment that we're using right now. I presume that they're those that we import. Now, in terms of just having locally led initiatives, in terms of producing our own, to be able to reap on maximum revenue from that, is it a conversation that perhaps the government Ministry of Agriculture is following through?
Yes, okay. In terms of the technologies we have, we are pushing two designs. We have the concrete design and the PVC or the balloon system. For the concrete design, everything is local, from the bricks, from the sand, cement, everything is local. Maybe the piping, the PPR pipes could be, sometimes some of the connectors is what is being imported. When you're talking about the PVC system, that's where maybe most of the materials have to be imported. So for the government, the only thing they can also be able to help us to subsidize on some of the taxes and the duties that these kind of products attract. So, but on the side of the appliances, we are talking about the biogas cookers, the brooders, the heaters, the biogas generators, the instant shower. All these products, we import them. So on that side, then, if we can be able to open up the space of manufacturing, because there's nothing so difficult in this. We have a department at Security that deals with things, biogas. We have professionals in this country. It's possible to be producing these gadgets here, because you'll find that a cooker, you are buying it from China, it's around 2,000, but getting it here before you take it to your shop, it's around 4,500. So getting to the farmer, you can imagine how much it's going to cost. If you can be able to produce these products here, I'm sure the cost to the farmers, the cost even to the government, it will really go down.
So Wasilwa, now that you go out there, you deal with the farmers, you install these systems for them, you help clean the environment. I mean, what is the response from your clients that you've dealt with? What are they saying about these good things that come with biogas, if any?
Yeah, so one of the things the farmers are happy about is the cost. They are really saving on the cost. From the basic farmer who is just doing the cooking, they have to forget about the LPG, they have to forget about charcoal, they forget about firewood. So the cost on that goes really down. The other cost is now on the fertilizer. Every farmer who has a biogas unit and they're also applying their slurry on the farm, they don't need. You can compare, they can even, most of the time we tell them, for a start, do a pilot. Just do a small piece of land, do the crops doing 100% because you can find a farmer who has farmed for 30 years with the chemical fertilizer. It's not easy to convince them, but the results, when they do it practically, they see the difference and now switch 100% to the slurry for their farm. So in terms of that, for the basic farmer, they are really saving on that. Then the commercial farmers who are doing things like chicken, a lot of money is involved in heating, like they have to do LPG or to do electricity for their layers or even the broilers for the first like 3 weeks. So in terms of that, like we have a farm here in Thika, they're doing like 23,000 chicks. They're spending around 20,000 every day on heating. And now when we did the biogas, they are saving 75%. They don't have a lot of waste, so they can't do it 100%. But you can imagine 75% of 20,000 every day. So the farmers are happy, and most of the work we are getting is through the referrals. Like other farmers, when I go to sell biogas, some farmers may not believe me, but when they hear it from their fellow farmer, they're like, yes, it's working. Yes.
Briefly, is the business good?
The business is good, though it takes time. Whether it's in Kenya, whether it's in Africa or in Europe, they takes time to break even. Like you give yourself 7 to 10 years. Yes, but the business is good, and also the impact. We cannot only think about the money. When you look at the impact, the farmers are happy. They are reducing the cost. The kitchens are good. There's something I have not mentioned. You'll find in these smoky kitchens, when there's a lot of smoke, the men don't go to the kitchen. But when they're cooking with biogas, the family bonds, they have that, like, the place is so clean. So you find even bringing, like, supporting the kids to do their assignments, you'll find it, the homes have that more unity, more bonding, and the kids who are also spending a lot of time looking for firewood, now they have time to do their homework because they don't have to. Yeah.
Now, as you talk about matters to do with biogas, now it is always what then do we do, the call to action, inviting farmers to tap into biogas in making sure that they use renewable energy, they cut down on costs. But let us just hear on what Caleb has to say with regard to call to action, not only to farmers, but to everybody in this country. Caleb, in a few.
Yeah, so I believe one thing the farmers should do is to really adopt this technology. Yeah, you'll find that some farmers really fear the risk of investing that 120 or 150,000, but they should be able to do that. The benefits are huge compared to their cost of investment. So I'll really encourage the farmers to adopt this. Let's move away from the firewood. Let's move away from the charcoal. Let's also save our environment, because again, when we tell farmers not to cut the trees, and they have to eat, they have to cook, then without giving them that alternative energy source, it will not be possible. So I really encourage the farmers, I encourage even the private sector to really also support this, and also the government to really come in big numbers to be able to support the farmers to get the uptake of biogas.
The call to action is not only to farmers, is not only to government, but it is to you as well at home. Biogas energy is clean for the environment. Biogas energy helps you save on how much you're spending on energy. But even as we talk about it, remember that the environment we live in today has been destroyed. Ozone layer is destroyed. Therefore, climate change is a problem that does exist, and perhaps biogas is the way for us to go if we want to say Mother Earth is happy with what it is we are doing today. Caleb Wasilwa is a biogas expert from Biogas Kenya, and with all that is said, perhaps the government should come on board and make sure that all the prices, how much you're spending on getting biogas is subsidized, because at the end of the day, we want an environment that is clean. My name is Dennis Aseto. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Bye-bye for now.
Kuwa mkono ambao unalima ardhi, mlango wa mkulima, kuwa mshindi.